Welcome back to the Market Snapshot. Today we're going to be talking about what an appraisal contingency is within the Rep C and also how the number of sold homes has skyrocketed over the past week. So stay tuned to find out what is going on in the Utah real estate market. Thank you again for joining us on the Market Snapshot. Really appreciate you and your repeat viewership. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the Wasatch Front Living YouTube channel, where you'll find all the cool content on what's going on in the Utah real estate market and other videos such as custom home tours and much, much more. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into what's been going on in the market this week. So days on market last week, we're at 25 days, which is super fast, and we've gone even faster this week. We're at 23 days on market as an average for the Wasatch Front. So homes are flying off the shelves in all the regions in the Wasatch Front here. As far as average sales price goes, last week we're at $444,000. This week we've dropped down a tiny bit to $431,000. So we're still sitting pretty high, and we always will see that kind of ebb and flow with the average sales price, because in some weeks higher price homes sell, other weeks they don't. So that's why you'll see that jump of 15, 10, 20, whatever it may be in that average sales price. What you really want to pay attention to is between that range of 10 to 20, whatever it might be. You want to pay attention as those bottoms rise as well as those tops together within that spread. That tells you that home prices are on the rise as a whole and not just kind of on a weekly basis. Now, number of sold homes is on an absolutely different level this week. Last week, though, we were at 672 sold homes. This week, we've jumped all the way up to 907 sold homes. So this last week in the market was going absolutely bonkers, and tons of homes have sold. So that 907 number, I think, is at an all-time high for this year. And so, I mean, that's awesome news for all the sellers out there, and a big congratulations to all those buyers who got into their home this week. Okay, so active listings is at 2,158, and now this week we're at 1,993 active listings. So last week's number is actually dropped from the previous week, so we've been going on a decline for active listings as a whole. Now, will this trend continue? It might, because again, home sales slow down over the winter months, and people tend to hold up over these colder months and then list their house in the spring when the housing market starts to heat up again. Because in those cases, a lot of times that's when buyers are flooding the market and you can get a higher price for your home. But we'll have to wait and see if that trend continues as far as active listings to go down. Because the interest rates are still so low, that is a motivation for sellers, even though it is into these colder months, to continue to list their house, because low interest rates means there's still going to be tons of buyers out there on the market. Now, under contract homes, last week we're at 6,114. This week we're at 5,998. So not really much to talk about right there. Now, the interest rate has been playing with us just a little bit. It's been going from sub 3 to 3 to a little bit over 3, and then back under, then back to 3. And it's kind of playing that same game with us this week. Last week we were at 3% interest rate and that's again for a 30-year fixed mortgage. This week we've dropped under 3 again to 2.92% interest rate over a 30-year fixed mortgage. So sub 3, guys, I know it doesn't seem like it's that special because we've seen that crazy rate for a couple weeks, a couple months now, I think. And so now it just seems like the norm, but it really isn't the normal thing. These are historic low interest rates, and if you're thinking of buying, there are ways to get you into a home, and you can take advantage of that great interest rate and save literally tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. All right, so our real estate term this week is appraisal contingency. Now, this is a clause in the Rep C that states basically the obligation of the buyer to continue on with this contract is either it is a contingent upon an appraisal coming in not less than the purchase price, or it is not. If you check in the affirmative, that means if you put a purchase price, for example, at $350 and the appraisal comes back at $340, the buyer is able to back out of the contract scotch-free, because it says the obligation of the buyer is contingent on the appraisal coming back at the purchase price. Now, if you check in the negative on that it is not contingent upon the appraisal coming back at the purchase price, that means that even if you come in at 340 with an appraisal, which means the lender will only lend to the 340, and you'd have to cover that 10 grand spread, you can still back out, but if you have any earnest money that went hard, you're going to lose out on that earnest money. But if you do go forward with that, again, you just have to cover the spread of what the appraisal comes in at or of what the purchase price is. Now, there is another option between that. You can come back and negotiate with this seller and say, hey, a licensed appraiser told us, the market value of this home is only this, and so you should bring your price down. Now, they in no way have to come down because the contract isn't contingent on the appraisal matching the purchase price. So when you check in the negative there, you should be prepared to move forward on a contract and be willing to cover that spread if you do check that in the negative, because you lose all your negotiation power when you choose that in the negative and an appraisal comes in low. So just be aware of that when you're filling out a contract, that appraisal contingency can be pretty important. If you don't have the ability to cover a spread, I wouldn't recommend checking that in the negative. But if you do, and if you want to be competitive and beat out other buyers, it's a great way to do so, because there's no reason that you'd back out if it comes in a little low and you're willing to cover that spread. So that tells the seller that you're really motivated and that you're ready to buy their house. All right, guys, that is the market snapshot here in the Wasatch Front in the great state of Utah. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I love that you come and watch the videos. If you have any further questions about what we talked about today, please go ahead and drop a comment there. Or if you just like the video, please give us a like. Also, if you're looking to buy a home and take advantage of those great interest rates, please reach out to me. I'm a realtor and I would love to talk options with you on how to get you into a home. And if you're looking to sell your home, I would love to sell your home as well. Thank you again for joining us today, and I'll see you guys next week on the Market Snapshot.